Hello and welcome to Fallawsophy. I'm your host, Jennifer Fallaw-Doering, and my philosophy is to believe in infinite possibilities. Today, we are talking about the moon and Pumapunku and how those connect. So, okay, I never wanted to go and do remote viewing on the moon. I had some kind of hesitation about doing that. And now I know why. I don't know if I'm going back, but I used what I call the viewing room, which is a way to do remote viewing in meditation in a safe way without actually going somewhere where there would be possibly multidimensional beings that could see you. So I used what I call the viewing room and interdimensional meditation to retrieve this information. Disclaimer before we begin. I'm like the lunatic fringe, I shoot off and do remote viewing and talk to angels and God, Jesus, and meditate and do all kinds of weird things. And all the information that I have retrieved could be a bunch of crap. It's okay. So now that that's out of the way, let's get into the good stuff. So I did 3 different meditations, 3 or 4, I think, over the last 3 days, because people were asking me, well, you've done Mars, which I do plan to go back to Mars. It is a much better place, and do more meditations there for future shows. But people have been asking me to go to the moon and to see what's really there in meditation, to remote view it. And so I did. I went into meditation, and the way that I do it is I project to the 6th level of heaven, to this beautiful courtyard outside a house I have there. And I met Archangel Michael, Archangel Gabriel, Raphael, Archangel Uriel, Chamuel, Gabriella, which is like Gabriel's twin sister, and some other I guess I don't know who they were. They look like angels, and then there were some armored angels that were there. And when I saw them, I'm like, okay, so we need more armored angels. This is probably not going to be good. But I'm always, you keep it divine, I'm always very protected in what I do. So I went into the viewing room, and I sat down with Gabriel and Michael, and they held my hands. And holding my hands keeps me there. Keeps me from, and which I've made this mistake before, keeps me from actually projecting my consciousness to the designated site. And it keeps me there in that room, in that dimension, viewing it on a screen. And as the other archangels sat down, these armored angels in silver armor lined the room. And that's what they do. They circle. And I looked at Michael because like Gabriel's armies are their armors. It's like golden and has a specific emblem on the breastplate, and it's like interlocking circles. I think it stands for the Holy Trinity. I've seen that from the beginning. That was one of the first things I tried to figure out. Michael, his armies they look silver, shiny silver. And they're very serious. Very task at hand. So I sat there, and you have to think. I'm teaching a class on this on Monday, so I'm not going to tell you how to do it. So, but I had a thought, and I wanted to see what was on the dark side of the moon. Um, and so initially on this big screen, I see the moon. And then I'm like, no, let's go to the dark side of the moon. Nobody knows what's on there. So I see the dark side of the moon, and there was just all this stuff on it. Just like so many metal things. Everything that I saw there looked very gray, steel colored or dark colored. I don't know if that's some kind of camouflage or what, but so I zoom in to the surface, and everything was strange for me. Everything was so cloudy. I could see that I was standing among all these large metal shapes, but I really couldn't see what they were. I think they were buildings, but just all different shapes and sizes. And just when you zoom out a certain ways, where like you would if you were looking at a city, it's just massive. It's just everywhere. So this concept of now the face of the moon, we went around the other side, was sparse. There was a lot of area that just like dirt. But on that side, there's a lot going on. I couldn't get a lot of information. I just know that I did not like being there. I did not like seeing that. I was trying to see the entities there, what was there, what the purpose was, and couldn't do it. That is usually, sometimes it's me, but I mean, usually when I say, okay, that's enough of that stuff, let's just see it. I want to see it. I can see it. I couldn't. So I went around to the face of the moon, and I did go back to the dark side later. I'll tell you about that a little later. On the face of the moon, I'm like, okay, so this is like looking at a planet, pretty much. It's huge. So what do I look at? So I'm like, let's go to and somebody said left eye in the room. And I'm like, okay, so the face. So we zoom into the left eye. And I'm standing in front of something so massive. I said, how big is this thing? And they said, if you took the Grand Canyon and flipped it up on its feet, one end, that's how big this thing was. So it looked like a building or a structure, but they said it was a ship. It was black. And I drew a really, really bad picture, and I tried to figure out how to put it on here, share screens, and I am just not good at that. So let me see if I can put this on as an overlay. You see? Yeah, okay. Can you see that? Hopefully you can still hear me. Yes, comment. Tell me in chat if you can still hear me while somebody say something in chat. Anyway, so there's this huge black building. And now this really isn't, the very crude drawing on the bottom there is more accurate. But, okay, we can hear me. All right. So the drawing on the very bottom there, the kindergarten drawing there, that is more accurate than the other drawing. But what it's showing you is that there was this huge, like monolith, almost like part of the building that goes up in the middle. And then it comes down in like geometric shapes on both sides, but they're like wings of the thing and supports. But I mean, this thing is massive. It's not like standing in front of a cruise ship or something. It's like standing in front of a city. And I was like, oh my God, what is this? And so I zoom in to one of those, see those little dots in the drawing? I zoom into one of the windows. And I'll take this off for now. I zoom into one of the windows. And I was shocked. I was shocked by what I saw. Okay. Because then I'm thinking, oh, you're making stuff up. Come on. Come on. And no, I still saw it. What I saw was what looked like a giant praying mantis bug turned to the side with one of his forearms up. I saw like half the body going up. So these long, spindly arms. And then the forearm was bigger than the upper arm. The upper arm was really long. And then it had some kind of claw thing on the end. Okay. I swear to God, it was green. And it was in there. And the energy coming off that thing was just horrible. It was psychotic. It was ravenous. It was destroy everything kind of feeling. And I'm like, well, that's not good. So here's my kindergarten drawing of that. So I did see one of the legs sticking up. So I assume there's another leg. But you know what? The information I got a little later in the meditations on these guys, they may be 2 more legs because of what I saw later. So now we have an alien race that looks like a giant praying mantis. There's that info. Let's see, what was this? Okay, see the drawing down there? How the I really need to get some drawing pencils and possibly take a class, okay? But this was at a pen sitting there meditating. Okay, so this is a more accurate drawing of the thing. How it's wider, but it gets more narrow as it goes up in the air. And like I said, the thing is the size of the Grand Canyon on its side. This is probably not the scale, this opening here. I was standing in front of some very large opening, possibly just above this creature's head here. And this drawing here is to show that they had very long, spindly arms and stuff. And it did look like it had a segmented area there. So upsetting. That's one of the things that is on the moon. I believe this is why, one of the reasons, there are many reasons why we stopped going to the moon. So anyway, with that meditation, I found out that I said, why is this thing here? And they said the moon is like an RV park for ships on that side. There are certain ships that are stationed there and aren't allowed to be on Earth for one reason or another. They've been banished from certain planets or from our Earth. Some of those creatures, they're saying, do work on the Earth. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that when I get into the other meditation. But basically, the moon's a central command and outpost for those who, the dark side, pretty much. I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you. The dark side. right, so then we get to the second meditation. And so I started asking about these praying mantis things. And I heard in my head, well, in the room, I was in the viewing room, Pumapunku. And I'm like, random. Why would I suddenly hear that? And then I saw a stone, an H-looking stone. And it looked like that architecture was very similar to the style of this ship thing. So then I asked questions, and they told me the praying mantis things were once living on the earth at Pumapunku, if I'm saying that right. They were cast off by the Arcturians because no other races could thrive when they had that much of a presence on the earth. So they were like locusts. I mean, they ate everything. The plants, the animals, the people. They were a nuisance, and they were just wiping out everything. Now at their outpost, I don't know if that's their only place. I just know that there is a place there with lots of them in it. Excuse me. They are provided with the food and everything else they need so that they can keep the majority of them there. But they are used kind of as weapons. Anyway, so they come down and they built this thing. What's with my voice? At Pumapunku. And the stones that you see, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's just do that, and then we'll go back to the other stuff. Let's see. All right. Okay. The stones that you see were made with heat. Kind of like we would take cement and put it in forms and cast it. This was done with rock that was heated and then put into these forms, and they made these interlocking stones, which made what was, and I went, and I actually did a remote viewing session and went there to Pumapunku back in time when it was there for the last meditation. So the walls were about 6 stories high of this. What they created was this gate system platform that the ship sat on. And so there were some parts of the 6-story high thing where you could go in and out. There were corridors, there were sections of it. And then there were weapons. It was like a weapons depot, or platform. But one of the major purposes of this was to water. They would have these channels of water that would cool the ship. Something about this ship gets very hot in that climate where they were. So they built this, and they had this huge ship on it. That's what I saw. I mean, it was very big. It was a very big thing. very tall. So it was much taller than it was wide. And the architecture of it really did match the ship. They would go out, and when I went there, we were standing on like a hill watching this. I think we were standing on a hill. And then we zoomed in to see how tall it was and stuff, and then we got out of there and went back. So I said, so show me what they look like. Oh my God, it would scare the crap out of you. If I saw this thing come running down the street, I'd shoot it. I mean, I told them, I said, I'd shoot the heck out of that thing. And they said, well, it's got armored skin. So it's got scaled, thick skin. And what this thing looked like almost was like a greenish white spider, just like frantically running across the land. Oh, it was just attack things. And I was like, oh my God. Not good, people. Not good. But anyway, thousands and thousands of years ago, this, same as it ever was, because we haven't seen one. Some people might have. I feel sorry for them. But excuse me. So, allergy season, anyway. It's always the same deal. So this thing's scurrying across the land. And I said, well, how would you kill it? Is it grenades, explosions? It's the skin on the thing is that thick that you'd have to blow it up. Your little guns aren't gonna, unless you had a really big gun, they're not gonna do it. So that's what Pumapunku was all about. It was not good. It wasn't just done by the indigenous people who just decided to, accurately cut these stones. No, the majority, the reason it held this ship up, but the platform came up above the bottom of the ship. And they had channels of water cooling this thing. And, you could walk on the top of the thing, and there were different levels to it. And there's all kinds of, like a maze in there. But that's what that was all about. And for some reason, they said the Arcturians kicked them off the Earth because, see, there's what I found out when I was doing the show on Mars is there is a global alliance and then there's an interplanetary alliance, okay? They monitor things enough so that one race doesn't destroy the planet for everybody else, or doesn't like blow up a planet and throw off the orbit of everything else or affect other planets. So something about what these guys were doing was going to eventually just destroy the Earth. And so that's why they were kicked off. Now, I do think that they are sneaking back and forth here and used by the reptilians. And I think that there is a connection to the reptilians here. I don't know if they bioengineered these things. I don't know if this ship actually belongs to them strictly, because they doesn't look like, they don't seem like, a very advanced being. They look like a spider mated with a praying mantis and was just ravenous and wanted to, there's no control there. It was, I don't even know what to tell you about that. It was not nice. Not nice meditation. Okay. All you people wanted me to go to the moon. But, we found out what Pumapunku is all about. I really have no prior knowledge about any of that. I have seen, half seen one Ancient Alien episode about Pumapunku. Didn't pay much attention. Total surprise to me when it came up and connected to this. I mean, why would I think of that? So, I tend to believe it's true. Now, I'm jumping around here. So there were walls, and so this was like a big box. So you have walls with openings, like 6 stories high. The top, you could walk on the top of it, like the roof of the thing, but there were parts that were open, chambers and tunnels, channels for the water to cool the ship. Now, where the ship is on the moon is cooler, so they don't need that. But something about where they were, it was just getting too hot. They may be part of the reptilian clan. Like I said, they've got a hard outside shell, which looked like snake skin, but green. So that's nice. And the reptilians may have bioengineered them as weapons. I do think they have 4 legs after I saw them run across the ground like that. So they'd have 4 legs and 2 arms. Pretty sure I saw little pincher things on the arms. Kind of like a lobster. Wonderful. Yeah, I was pretty upset about that. Being right there on the left eye of the moon. And so we went around to the I tried to get the name of these things, and I was so thrown by the whole thing the first time I saw them. So I got 2 names, and I don't know if anybody has heard of these things before and knows what people call them. Oh, okay. What did I call them? It was like lichen or something the first time I heard it. And then I heard cephalium or something like that. It was like something like that. I couldn't get it. I was too thrown by the whole situation. So anyway, they were cast out. They've been up there. And so the whole energy of the moon is like the Death Star. I mean, now I asked about if this was an artificial satellite, like the moon itself, if it was, and my friend Mike Barra told me definitely that it was. So I was just, like, tell me that it is. Tell me that it is. So that he doesn't get mad at me, because he's probably going to get mad at me after this show. But it was not. There was another planet in our solar system. It blew up. I don't know how it blew up, but most of the debris, went everywhere. One of them, that's where the moon came from, big piece. And over time, it was smoothed and everything else. So it is organic. It has been carved out and used pretty much as a home or a satellite. Kind of like our Earth. So I said, all right, we've done the left eye. Let's go inside. And so they said the nose. And I'm like, so because we're back again, viewing from far away. So we zoom into the nose. And, I'm using the viewing room the whole time. I'm watching this like on a giant TV screen. And you move, you use your mind to move around. So I see what looks like where the nose is this big. It's just kind of like I don't know, It's like an opening that you go into. Almost like maybe a mining shaft would be, but huge. Like huge. And I'm going in there, and of course it all looks like kind of metal, and it didn't seem like we were going down. It just seemed like we were going in. But then all of a sudden, we go through this white stuff. Totally shocked me. Like this white stuff. And then we're in this opening. And I'm trying to see, and everything's kind of milky, right? I don't know how to explain that. I don't know if it was light. My first instinct was it was something that was almost like a gel. So then I look up and I see there's an opening in there. I'm sure it's not the whole middle of the moon. It's of course been carved out in different ways. So I had 2 experiences in the middle of the moon. Both not good. I look up and I see what looks like a giant daddy long leg black spider filling the entire opening. And I couldn't tell you how big it was. I couldn't tell you. But, you know, it's definitely bigger than a circus tent, bigger than a building we have. It was a huge opening inside the moon. And there was like this, it had a, you see this stupid drawing I made? All right, let me see. See that? Well, you're standing in the opening and you look up, you see this black thing and you see these black legs coming out from it. And I'm just like, oh, is that some kind of support or something? And then I zoom in it and I actually saw something that looked like pinchers. Okay. Got the hell out of there. I wasn't in there, but you know, still, I mean, woman sees a spider. I don't want to have anything to do with it. Looked like a spider. I'm like, what the hell is this? Just like my first thought, oh, I just made that connection. What was that movie? What was that movie where they're running across the land and there's this giant like mother alien? God, what do you guys? I need chat. What was that movie? It had like I can't even remember. You know what I'm talking about? Where they've got this. It was God, I can't remember. Anyway, it'll come to me as soon as the show is over. So my thought was that this is like some kind of big, like Queen. Yes, Independence Day 2. Remember when that thing was running across the land and they were trying to, like that big? That's what I'm talking about. It was like bigger than that. And I'm thinking, oh my God, is this some kind of queen bee, like freaking spider thing? Like, you know, why the hell am I doing the moon? I don't want to be here. So not a good place. You know, I either just like zoomed right into a spider's nest, an alien spider's nest on the moon, or I'm tripping. So I went, but down below it, there was a lot of activity. And it was like, it's so crazy because I usually get like the positive side of everything. I'm not like, I hate scary movies. I don't like seek that out. So anyway, I looked down on another visit and kind of ignoring the spider, and just all this activity. I mean, I can't zoom in to see exactly what's happening. And I really think, let me tell you something, you know, when I like go, there are certain times, very rarely, when the archangels, when we do remote viewing, they'll tell me you can't go in. Or they'll say, very rarely, or they'll only show me what I can handle. I think there was something going on there that I can't handle. Either that, or it's just me instinctively, my soul saying, you can't handle that. But there was a lot going on down below this thing. And I keep getting pulled back in thought to the reptilians. I really think that they're all in cahoots. I really do. With whatever's going on in the moon. I think it's their nest. I'm just going to say it. I think it's their nest. And I think this thing that was hanging there was some kind of big guy. I could be wrong. Not good. So anyway, so then we go back around to the dark side of the moon because I've just had about enough from the face. Okay. Just about enough with that. So I go around to the dark side of the moon again, and this time I said, okay, I got to see what this is. You got to let me see something. And so we zoom in, and I'm standing in front of everything. All the structures there are very dark. They're either like steel gray or black. And I see what looks almost like a giant, it's either a building or a wall. Like a penitentiary would look like. And then in the middle of it, it looked like there's a tower. The kind you would see in an airport or like a penitentiary. So it was some kind of building, but beyond that, I said, what is this? And said, it's a military base. Great. I said, okay. That's another, we're going to get back to that. I got all screwed up with my notes here because I got all excited. Mixed it up. Okay, here we go. There are 29 countries that have bases on the moon. What I was seeing was part of the U.S. base. Not part of our regular military. It's above that, and I'm sure most of it is deep state. So we see this, and we kind of, with the viewing, go up and over, and on the other side of this building wall thing, it did have some depth to it. So I don't know if I just skipped over the building or if it was a wall. And there's what looked like an airport. There's all kinds of crafts there. And I'm like, what are these? Who are these? Ours? I mean, who's here? Who's working here? And so I don't know if I saw this just to show me who's working there, or if they were really running around without the astronaut suits on the face of the moon, because that's what I saw. It's just some military dude, blue uniform. I saw this again, another actual remote viewing session I did out off of the coast of Bempton, England, where Rendlesham Forest is. Down there's a big square black thing in the ocean out there. And there were men with almost like police hats, blue uniforms. They were not wearing the ones I saw here in this meditation. That guy was talking to a gray by some kind of ship. And the gray, they were communicating back and forth. Okay. And they did not have your typical spacesuit, things to breathe with, all that on. So either I saw that just as to tell me who was there, or you don't really need all that shit on the moon. Talk about lies. I could be wrong. So then I said, well, is this it? This is just an airport. And they said, no, there's an underground. It's an underground facility and a weapons depot. Like, perfect. So then we kind of just like the scene I see is us going down into the ground, and then I see this one huge room. Probably the size of like an Amazon warehouse. And there's just boxes and boxes. And then we went down further to another room. And that room was filled with cages. And there were animals in the cages. It was just a sea of cages. And there were people in the cages. I said, oh my God, what is going on here? And pretty much everything there is sold on the black market. And I'm not talking about here on Earth. Could be. They could have moved operations up there. I'm talking about intergalactic commodities. I'm talking about it's still going on. They said most operations moved to space. The slave trade, food, entertainment, that's what the things in the people and the animals, everything in the cages, that's, and the guns and whatever kind of weapons there are, whatever is sold. Very disappointing. I also did find out that I can be wrong. I think the majority of the inside of the moon is a reptilian nest. That's what I think. And if I argue with you about something and I tell you, no, this is what I think, I'm usually right. Mama's usually right. So that's upsetting. And then I found out that there's weapons. There were weapons, silent weapons. Let's see if I can find my page. Silent weapons pointed at the Earth that could take out a city block. And do you remember seeing the pictures of like a whole street in California that was incinerated? That's it. That's it. They're satellites that control those things or whatever that they're trying to explain to me are just now disabled. Good news. Now disabled. So that is true. If anybody heard anything about that, if this is news to you, it's news to me. I do think that I didn't realize that this is coming from like the moon. You know? I asked if it could take out the whole Earth, these weapons. They said, well, it take out a city block, like the California fires. It can explode a building. create explosions, and they're like, well, we didn't find a device. We don't see. It must have been natural. Oh, there must have been a gas line. It must have been something. No, maybe it's your freaking weapons from the moon. Why don't you tell people about that? I asked if they could take out the whole Earth. And at one time they said yes, at one time, but they won't because they would have nowhere else to live. And they are monitored by the Galactic High Command, like on Mars, so that they don't do something to disrupt the orbits of the planets or harm anybody else. So if they were to blow up the Earth, that would screw everything else up, everything in orbit. And so there is a interplanetary whatever. I use the word galactic because it's cool. Council or governance that for basic things like, hey, you can't ruin the planet, or you can't completely destroy it. You can't blow it up because then you're going to ruin our neighborhood. You're affecting us now. I do think it was interesting that I saw the military and that gray just standing out there on the runway. Just standing there. Not floating. No helmet. On the moon. And that there are 29 countries that the UN, and I don't know if they sponsor it, they know all about it. All about it. So there's a lot of bad stuff going on in the middle. And that was not fun. Highly disappointed by that. I thought maybe there's good aliens just hanging out there till we're all ready. No. Don't go to the moon. Mars. Mars is a much better place to go. Now I see why they talk about, we're going to Mars. Good. Go to Mars. Because Mars is like a big Earth with mostly peaceful civilizations on it. So I'm just trying to see if I missed anything. This is a subject that I should have had like a month to work on or more. But I had a couple days, 3 days. Let's see. So let's go to questions, see if I can ask about any of your questions. Wish Jen has super chat. I don't know how to do that. Yeah, sounds like the Rothschild summer vacation home. I know. Probably is. They have breathing implants for whatever environment they're in, space or water. That would be probably, there's probably anything you can think of is probably true when we always, all these years we're thinking, that's not true. That's not true. That's not true. Nothing's true. That's not real. This is not real. Tell you what, I'm a positive person. I'm always looking for the love and the peace and the hope, and I just want to do these meditations. That's why I look for answers and peace and hope. And at a time like this, I wouldn't want to bring back bad news, but that's what I got. And I do think they're somewhat disabled. There is still a presence there. But here's the deal. You can't shoot yourself in the foot. You can't just blow up the moon. Or, everything on Earth would go haywire, right? So they're just sitting there. And they're probably all over, the inside of our Earth is probably completely catacombed. I mean, it's probably a honeycomb. Considering what I've seen. And somebody asked, why Earth? Why shitty Earth? Well, because they have, for some reason, We have other alien races that are on the Earth that are doing things on the Earth. But I believe that the reptilians have really controlled the people and infiltrated the governments and infiltrated, the societies. And in some way, shape, or form, it's our free will that keeps them here. It doesn't make any sense to me because, as a mother, I'd come back and say, well, they had no idea. They had no idea. But, maybe we just don't know very much about the human soul and the human mind. Because if subliminal messages work, then your mind is recording everything. So maybe we do know. I don't really think that's fair. To assume people are accepting or giving their approval, their free will, all these things that have gone on that we know nothing about. So, maybe we just still have a lot to learn. But I do think that the major weapons that were pointed at us and causing a lot of fires, explosions, things like that, and they could probably do other things, have been taken out. Those have been taken out, and I said by who? They said the Global Alliance. So, from what I've seen in space in the last few weeks and doing these meditations, I'm pretty sure we've got another alien race helping us out. Pretty sure. So I don't feel like, all is lost. There's giant spiders and praying mantises and terrible things on the moon. There's also humans on the moon. So what I'm disappointed most by is the humans on the moon working with all these aliens to do very, very bad things. So if you think it's just worldwide, it's not. This whole war is not just worldwide. The reptilians, do you think the reptilians are the fallen angels? I don't think so. Because everybody wants to, have one quick fix, one answer. Well, it's either, it must have been aliens. They saw coming out of the sky. Couldn't have really been angels. Really? Are we really there? Are we still there to not believe that there are? I mean, we embrace with everything that there's bad guys, there's demons. Yeah, there are. What makes you think, if that is true, that God's army of angels is not real either? You better start believing real quick. Why the heck would Susie Mary Sunshine over there, me, know that the alien race, the alien spaceship sitting on the moon built Pumapunku? How the hell would I know that? Because I'm talking angels. They're real. It's all real. The sooner you guys accept that, we're all running around as human beings trying to figure out what's real and what's not real. How about we just all accept that everything is real somewhere? And then we can choose our team. Shut up, really? Gene Decode says you can breathe on the moon and there are prisons there. Maybe it was a prison. I don't think so. I asked. That's not what I got. That was a slave trade. Whatever building I looked at, that was a slave trade. No, I don't think they make. Do they use things that make people's ears ring? Buck Fiden asks. I'm not aware of that. I don't know. I didn't ask. But usually, though, in the spiritual realm, when my ears will ring when someone's trying to talk to me, I know this because I've tested it many times. And I'll all of a sudden one ear goes feels like it goes deaf or something. Usually when I get the ringing, all of a sudden loud ringing in one side, and I'll say, finally I had a hunch to say, all I can hear is ringing. If you want to talk to me, tell me in my mind. The ringing will stop immediately. A physical problem doesn't do that. So try that. And you may just be a medium and something's trying to talk to you. Yeah, I don't know about the implants and the abductees and things like that. So it's kind of quick. It's easy to jump to the conclusion that all is lost, and we've got these big bad bug things that are trying, and the lizard things that are trying to take over, or have taken over. Have they? Have they really? Or do they just want you to believe that they've taken over? Because if they had, how are their satellites down? How are their weapons disabled? Why are they retreating to the moon? I think, in my travels, and the work that I do, I never thought any of these things existed. Never. Until I saw it, I always thought, it actually, I always knew that there were life on other planets. There's other races. There's all kinds of stuff. I didn't, even as a child, I was just like, well, why wouldn't there be? That's stupid. It's like sitting in your house and never coming out and telling everybody that comes over there's nothing else out there. Take a look. Look out the window. Go outside. There are. You have neighbors. But when I do these house cleanses, I see the reptilian attachments. I've seen them doing healings. I've seen these things they put in people's bodies that are like energetic. It's almost like they're in the in-between. They can be seen on a certain level, but they can affect the living. And then you've got, so it must be their spirits that are doing this, or they found some way to do it in between the dimensions, moving in and out. But they're no match. They're absolutely no match for God and his army of light and his light. Typical situation. We walk into a home that has an infestation, a reptilian infestation. There's an initial blast of this blinding light. And just like freeze tag when you're a kid, all these little minions and things that are running around in the house that nobody can see. So I go in with Jesus, okay? And the angels. I can see them all. Big team all at once. Blast. They freeze and fall to the floor. Totally stunned. Then there's like this big white, Jesus opens this portal in the floor, this big white tornado sucks everything down to the dimension it belongs into. Done. If you were to see these things with your eyes, and they were visible to everybody, I mean, you'd be scared shitless. You'd be shooting everything up. I mean, it's scary stuff. I mean, when I tell you I've seen some stuff. And It is no match for the Creator. It is no match for God. Do you know what these things are to God? Bugs, irritants, lizards, snakes. And what do we do with those when we don't want them there? We smash them, remove them, we get rid of them. Now, energetically, nothing is ever destroyed. It's just transformed back to transported back to where it belongs. But since I've brought you all of this terrible information, let's get back in the right frame of mind. It's been there for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. It's been here for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. You are as powerful as the Creator, because you are the Creator, and so am I, and so is everybody else. So choose your team. Stand strong. Not at just faith now. We've gone further than that now. Now you're going to move into knowing. I've gotten there. I've had the luxury of seeing these things and seeing them taken out of someone's house or somebody's body, things like that. Now, if one of those scary things with all the legs that looks like a praying mantis comes running down the street, I can't tell you I'd stand there strong. I'd probably be like, holy crap, get the kids in the basement. Mama's going to make a bomb, Go out, we got all these guns, and I'm like, damn, we forgot the grenades. Go and get some grenades. But, you just got to know that, like I know, that when everything seems lost and everybody in this house is just going down the tubes and they're all getting, just terrible things happening to people, and they feel completely helpless to it. And Jesus and the angels, and, I'm there. I'm assisting, but they're basically doing it all, and I'm watching. Go into this house and completely cleanse it. When the reptilians go into a house, they have what's called sometimes a den, which is really interesting. So you'll have many, many portals. And when you close the portals in the house like that, so basically demonic infestation, but it's like a reptilian thing. There's like this stone they pull out of one of the portals, and that's the marker. That's the thing that holds it open. That's what the thing that draws them all there. Crazy. Jesus showed me that. And everything is gone. And the people, you don't even have to tell them much. I just basically just tell them. I usually don't tell them what I find in the house, because it scares the crap out of people, and then they get scared, and then they call more things back in. I just say, oh yeah, it's all clear now, everything's good. But when these angels go in, there's no battle. There's no talking. We don't engage with the enemy. Go in, clean and swift. All done. And that's how it's going to happen. That's how it's going to happen. So you just stay strong. Do not fall for the scary stories that diminish your light. You have to shine now. It's time to shine. I mean, you got to reach for happiness on every occasion. Take it. Money is less important now. Status is less important now. Everything is less important now. You know what's most important now? Happiness, joy, love, all that stuff. Not because we're all going to cease to exist, because I know that we don't, because I've seen myself as an old woman. And I'm telling you, if there was something going down, I had to run for my life. I'd just die right on the spot. I mean, I would die. I'm not going to like fight an alien with my bare hands. I'm a spiritual warrior, you know? I'm so out of shape for being home for a year and a half. I would pass out and die if I had to run down the street to save myself. But at take every chance, every opportunity. And you're like, well, how do I raise my vibration? Laughter. Anybody noticed lately there's no comedy? Used to be tons of comedy everywhere you looked. The movies, lighthearted, you know, all kinds of stuff. They know it. Learn from what you see. They know what they're doing. They know how powerful you are. They feed off of your negative energy. So, just remember, now, if you see something running down the street that looks like praying mantis with 2 arms and 4 legs and green snakeskin, blow it up. You have to blow it. I don't know how we're going to get a hold of a bunch of grenades, but we probably should add that to the survival bunker. No, I don't think that's really going to happen. If you see that happen, you know we're winning. You know we're winning. If that's all they got left. All right, I'm just rambling on now, but I wanted to get on here and share with you what I found out. Most interesting part here is the connection to Pumapunku. Those stones were like formed in molds, fit together. A lot of them so precisely because of the water aspect and the cooling of the ship. And that's pretty much all I got for now. You know, you guys, don't forget to sign up for the class that I'm teaching on Monday nights, June 7th. And you can go to Jennifer. Let me get my banner. Where's the banner? Bink. JenniferFallaw.com. If you'd like a reading with me, if you'd like a house cleanse from me, if you'd like an attachment removal, if you'd like, healing, medical intuitive is my strongest gift. So if that's something you need, you can go to the website. I have this show there. I have older shows there. I have a series on the exploration of the levels of heaven through interdimensional meditation there. It's very interesting. I will be doing that one again for Fallawsophy soon. I do it every couple of years. And I go back into each level and get more information. So sign up for the class. It's on the first page at JenniferFallaw.com, class number 5. If you haven't taken any of the other classes, you can go. And if you're watching this later, they should still be up there for a while. You can take all the classes. You will receive a link to watch. Thank you, everybody, for being here with me. It's Friday. My friend Susan, my producer on my radio station, I own a radio station, is going to be doing a show in an hour, 4 o'clock on Friday night. So I'm probably going to move to Thursday. But you guys, I just do it when I have time anyway. But I let you all know, like my page, Fallawsophy, on Facebook. Please share this if you like it. I don't think Facebook will probably take it down because I'm like part of the Lunatic Friends, the psychics. We come out with all kinds of crazy stuff. So, and you can also listen to Beacon of Light Radio. And that is a radio station with many, many hosts and thousands of shows about aliens. It's mostly a spiritual radio station, but not religious. You know what I mean? We're talking about paranormal activity. We're talking psychic ability, astrology, mysteries of the world, all kinds of stuff. You can tune into beaconlightradio.com at any time and listen 24 hours a day. Thank you all for being with me. I'm going to get going. Friday night. We get to the right place here. Hang on. I will get better at this. I will. All right. Thanks a bunch, everybody. If you want to email me, you can do it at jenniferfallaw.com as well. Good night.